What's standing between you and your first sale on Shopify? Time, expertise, resources? What if you could multiply all three? Product descriptions? Done. Store insights? Delivered. 2 a.m. customer questions? Handled instantly. Entrepreneurs on Shopify are reaching their first sale faster with AI that works with you. Go to shopify.com/first sale to see how entrepreneurs use AI to grow their businesses faster. That's shopify.com/first sale.
Hello, book lovers. Welcome to Must Love Books. Hello, and welcome back to Must Love Books. Today, I am here with author Madeline Vuaghn. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm great, other than the weather outside, but yep.
So you are the author of the Emily Fallon novels. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about your work?
The first one is, it's a trilogy, first off. The first one came out July 31st, 2023, Death Before Dishonor, an Emily Fallon novel. They all have an Emily Fallon novel after them. But the first one was Death Before Dishonor, and it basically starts off when she gets home from a recent deployment. She kind of hits the ground running with a lot of events that have happened while she was at sea, and one of which is her brother's missing. So that's the first thing. I added so many twisty turns. A lot of people that have read it think they have it figured out, and they're always messaging me that, you got me. I really thought I had this one figured out. So it was really fun to write. She's a very strong female character. She's in the Navy. No, I've never served in our military. Thank you to everybody that has. I have not. It took a lot of research to write the first one. And then I had a great insight from somebody that has and still is in the Navy. So that's been super helpful. Book 2, Storm from Within, came out November 30th of last year. And it picks up right where book 1 left off. It is a trilogy, so they do not stand alone. You do have to read them in order or you will be lost, I promise you. And then book 3 is scheduled to come out. I haven't released the title yet, so I'm going to leave that for the moment, but maybe I'll say at the end of the podcast. But that one comes out in April of this year. My team has it. They're reviewing it. As long as I didn't screw anything up, it should be going off to an editor soon. So that is it for the trilogy. Then there's other stuff also planned for the year.
That is awesome. I love that. So you have really kind of been pumping these out since you first started the series. That's excellent.
Yes. I think we're at 5 months right now. So.
Yeah. Well, then, readers don't have to wait. That is the benefit to reading indie authors is you don't have to wait the slow process that traditional publishing takes. You can get your books far quicker.
Exactly. And I am super impatient. So I was writing to me, like for me, that the others like me, I hate to admit, I was one that would wait until an entire series or trilogy would come out before starting it because I didn't want to have to wait. So I think that was one thing that also pushed me to write them as quickly as I did. And I already had them outlined. So that also helped.
Which definitely helps. Yeah, I think that a good outline really increases that process and allows you to shave off some of that time that it takes for publishing.
For sure.
And your Emily Fallon novels are rated so highly on GoodReads. I don't think it's very common that you see an author whose all of their books have a 4.0 or higher on their Goodreads rating. So congratulations there.
Thank you so much. I am still pinching myself. It does not quite seem real. I wrote the first one based off of a dream, and The fact that people actually picked it up and read it, I thought I would literally be the only one to buy it. So I'm still in shock that people have bought it or read it and then gave me a good review. It's just insane. So I love it. Thank you to everybody that has reviewed it. Thank you.
Yeah, that is excellent. It's always such a good feeling. Okay, so you just also released your third book in the trilogy. Why don't you tell us about Emily's story?
The last book in the trilogy is called Retribution for the Fallen, an Emily Fallon novel. And it's basically wrapping up everything in books 1 and 2. And if you've paid attention, you will see little Easter eggs that I left both in book 1 and 2 that come to a head in book 3. I got a lot of hate messages after book 2 for one particular thing that happened, and then they thanked me later after they finished reading the book. They got to one particular chapter, like, what are you doing to us? It turns out, I can't give too much away because it's a spoiler, a big spoiler for book 2, but book 3, Retribution, she is just out for blood at this point. Everybody has been after her, and it's now down to her and the Secretary of the Navy. So it's a big person to go after. You don't have a lot of pull. If she's, like I said, she's in the Navy. She's got the Secretary of the Navy is her nemesis at this point, and she has to figure out how to take her down. It's a quick read, more plot twisty turns, because that's what I love to do, and get people going one way when it's actually going another. But this will wrap up the trilogy, and then there will be a novella for Xander's story, because I've got a lot of messages about Xander and why does he not have his own series. He gets a novella, so he'll get a prequel novella for the trilogy.
That is amazing. I love that. I'm personally a huge fan of trilogies. I think I prefer trilogies over any other kind of model, whether it is standalone or an extended series. I'm always a sucker for a good trilogy, especially when everything culminates and comes back around to a nice little tied up package. I love that. And then the prequel novella, that's amazing.
Thank you. He's so fun to write. He's literally, other than Emily, my main character, he's my favorite to write. He's just, his banter with her and their chemistry is so just electric. So I was really sad to write the end in book 3. So
I bet it's such an ending.
It is, and there will be other spin-off trilogies, probably with Maverick, Emily's brother. And I say trilogy, but it may just be like a 1-book deal to a prequel to the original trilogy. I haven't decided. He was never planned as a book, Maverick, but Emily was. She's always been 3 books, and that was it. So
excellent. So you told me that you work in corporate America by day and you write by night. How do you go about balancing the corporate work and your day life with your nighttime writer life? What is that balance like for you?
I wake up really, really early. One great aspect of my corporate life is I make my own hours. So I can log in whenever I need to, want to, whatever. So I can log in. For me, I wake up at 4 a.m. usually. So I'll log in about 4:30 and then I'll work until 11 or 12 and then be done. So when I say write at night, I usually write in the afternoon. If I have meetings, which I do have them every Monday, most of my Monday, and occasionally on Thursdays. If I have those, then obviously I adjust my hours to work with those meetings, because I do have people in other time zones. But my job is very flexible and I'm appreciative of it.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome to have such flexibility.
Right. Yeah, it is. And it's unheard of. Now, will it always stay this way? Probably not. Our busy season, we just finished. So I didn't write a ton in Q4 of 2023 because we were super busy. So I'm starting to pick that back up again, and working on a 5-part series. So
Excellent. Excellent. Well, it's good to have that flexibility so that you can really focus on your writing and give us more content.
yes, I'm trying. I'm trying to get them out as quickly as I can and make sure that they're. I don't like giving, like, I don't know, half-assed projects. So I want to make sure that I've researched them and you're getting quality content. I'm not just going to throw something out there because just to get something out there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So how about you tell us a little bit about your writing process and your writing inspiration?
The process. So my husband makes fun of me endlessly about this. My process is I lock myself in a room. Actually, I have a separate writing room now that we moved out our youngest a while ago. And I usually have like a candle, which is no big deal, the computer, and I love to listen to music when I write. The part that he teases me about is the fact that I have to listen to vinyl. So I have a little record collection that's expanding, but I love to listen to vinyl. There's just something about it. It's like the crackling of the records. It's almost a white noise with the music. I can be very productive if that is the case, if that's on. If I'm on vacation, I don't have my record player or anything like that, then it is a little bit harder for me to get motivated to write. So, as far as inspirations, I'm obsessed with Karin Slaughter. She does not know this. She may never know this, but she is my mentor. So hello, Karin, if you ever listen to this, I love you and I would love to meet you. She was actually in Kansas City not too long ago, and I just missed seeing her. They sold out of tickets and I was devastated.
No.
But her, Lee Child, and Tom Clancy I'm huge fans. And I don't know if you can see any, like half of them. There's a bookcase behind me, and I have almost every Karin Slaughter book there is. So, the way she writes and the way she just brings you and pulls you into the story is what I would love to do with my characters and my stories that I tell. And I try to emulate that. So it's pretty cool.
That's wonderful. I love that.
Thanks.
So we're going to shift gears a little bit
Okay.
into how you are as a reader. So why don't you tell us what is your all-time favorite book?
All-time favorite book ever. When I was younger, I loved Where the Sidewalk Ends. That was my first book that actually hooked me into reading. And from there, I've always been a reader. I love it. I did stop reading for a really long time. And I think it was 3 years ago, I read Verity by Colleen Hoover. And I know there's a lot of like controversy with Colleen Hoover. I will say when I read Verity, I thought that's how she wrote all of her books. Like they were all going to be like those thriller suspense books. I was very surprised when I got the next book and it was like a romance like trope thing. And I was like, what is happening? Like, this is nothing like the book I just read. So it threw me for a loop. But then I, quote unquote, met Karin Slaughter through her writing. And yeah, I love her.
I love that.
Book, I guess.
I love that. So we're going to play a little game called Would You Rather, Bookish Edition.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. So would you rather only be allowed to read new releases or only be allowed to read classics?
New releases.
Would you rather not be able to buy any new books until you've read everything on your shelf, or never be allowed to read any books you currently own?
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm gonna say not buy a book until I read what's on my shelves. That's actually my goal this year, is to not buy a book until I read the ones on my shelves.
You know, I thought about making that a goal for myself, and then I turned around and bought like 20 more books. So it didn't work out.
It's not working. Yeah,
It didn't work.
We'll see how it goes. Let me put it that way. So far, so good, but we'll see.
Would you rather only read standalone novels for the rest of your life or only be able to read series?
I love a good series. I'm gonna have to go with the series.
Honestly, me too. Give me
Yeah.
more.
I love them. I love them so much.
Would you rather, now I think this one's kind of a hard one. Would you rather read only one book a year and remember everything, or read 100 books and remember nothing?
Gosh, that is a hard one. Okay, I'm going to say 100 books, remember nothing, but that's because, I mean, that's kind of what I do now. I read like 60 books last year, and they're like, oh, did you read that? I was like, I think I did. And then I'll go look at my review. I was like, oh, yeah, I really liked it. This is what I thought about it. I am the worst at remembering. I can literally like look at a book. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I read that. I don't remember though. Yeah. So sadly, yes, that's what I would pick.
Oh, I love that. Would you rather read a book with a cliffhanger ending or read a book with a heartbreaking ending?
Oh, these questions. I get like pissed. Can I say pissed?
Yes.
Okay. I get pissed at the cliffhanger endings. So I don't know if I could do that. I've been like super emotional with certain books. I read one last year and I was like, I hate this book. It's making me cry. Like the whole book made me cry. So I don't know. That's such a tough question. Um, as long as it's a series and there's a book out after it, I will take the cliffhanger. But if they just leave it on a cliffhanger, those are the worst. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can only handle a cliffhanger if I have the next book. Not even that I know it's coming out. Like, it needs to already be in my hands
same.
so that I can handle it.
I'm so the same with that. I'm the worst. Yes.
Would you rather have to reread your least favorite book every month or never read your favorite book again?
Oh, man. These are great questions. Gosh. Okay, I'm gonna say never read my favorite book again. It is very rare that I reread a book. So I think I would be okay with that.
There you
Read
go.
it to me.
Oh, you know what? I think
Is there like a loophole?
I think that technically might be able to count as a loophole. It doesn't say, it's not specifically mentioned, so I think that would count.
Okay, I might take the loophole.
Let someone read it to you.
Yes.
So that is it for Would You Rather, and then I have just one more bookish question for you.
Sure.
This one might take a little thinking, or you might be able to snap right to it. If you could have dinner with any fictional book character, who would it be?
Character. Dang it. Okay, I'm going to say Will Trent from Karin Slaughter's series, the Will Trent series. It's actually on ABC, I think, now too, as a TV show. But the image I have of him in my head, I would love to have dinner with Will Trent.
Well, I think that brings us coming to our time here. Do you have any last messages that you would like to share with us today?
If you are not following me on Instagram at Madeline Vuaghn Books, please follow me, send me a message. I'd love to talk to readers. If you've read the books, say hey, let me know who your favorite character was. I'd love to hear from everybody.
Excellent. And I will be sharing all of your social media information in the description of this episode, as well as on the Must Love Books podcast, Instagram and Facebook pages, so that everyone can find you when they're looking for you and everyone can enjoy the Emily Fallon trilogy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure.
Same. Thank you. This is great.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Must Love Books. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon under @MustLoveBooksPodcast. Thank you and happy reading.
This podcast is supported by Talkspace.
When my husband came home from his military deployment, readjusting was hard for all of us. Thankfully, I found Talkspace.
Talkspace provides professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatric providers online. Military members, veterans, and their dependents ages 13 and older can get fast access to providers, all from the privacy of their computers or smartphones.
I just answered a few questions online, and Talkspace matched me with a therapist. We meet when it's convenient for me, and I can message her anytime. It was so easy to set up, and they accept TRICARE. Therapy was going so well, my husband and I started seeing a couples therapist through Talkspace too.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, including TRICARE. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com/military. Go to Talkspace.com/military to get started today. That's Talkspace.com/military.